Unfortunately, the university generally doesn't work in action. The university works in cognition. We get our students, we put them all in a room, we teach them about ethics, we care about their moral sensitivity, we care about their awareness, we teach them about things. We teach them about problems, we teach them how to solve problems on paper, but we do not teach them to act in the world. And sometimes this is the way the university was conceived in the traditional liberal arts idea of liberating people to be themselves. It's like, we're going to empower you with knowledge, and we're going to stop right there. What you do with that knowledge is up to you. Now, I'm a critic of this model. Because I teach professional ethics, because I teach engineers, I'm not interested in just like teaching people about engineering. I teach a course called Engineering Business Practices. It's a junior level course, and in my course, my job is to help people become engineers. Not just learn about engineering. And to become an engineer, you've got to start behaving like engineers behave. So I do it a little bit differently than the philosophers or other academics would do it. I want engineers out there in the world, making the world a better place, not just imagining how the world could be. And this means that the universities that I work in, I'm asking them to work differently than they have. There's a wonderful YouTube series in which Manuel Lima talks about reorganizing knowledge. He says, the way that our current university structure thinks of knowledge, it uses the metaphor of a tree. And the tree metaphor was really good for the Industrial Revolution, because the Industrial Revolution made us rich through specialization of labor and economies of scale. So in this tree structure, we have all the disciplines are like leaves out on the branches, and they never touch one another. They never inform one another. Not unless you crawl down a limb, you get to a root. Only then can you crawl out a different branch. When you think about the way our universities are organized, you flip the tree upside down, and now we have a university org chart. There's a president and a provost, and then all these branches and departments and faculty and assistant professors and postdocs, and they're all like little twigs, never talking to one another across their disciplinary boundaries. And that's the way we organize the university in concert with the Industrial Revolution so that we can become rich. But Manuel says that's not the way knowledge works. Knowledge is all connected to one another. He says in the information revolution, we no longer actually need a library in our section of campus, like the engineering library. The library exists everywhere, all at once. And we access it electronically because the marginal cost of data is going to zero. All knowledge is connected to all other knowledge in some way. He says the right metaphor for organizing knowledge in the information age, this post-industrial age, is a web or a network. And I think that's wonderful because the systems that we're concerned about are complex, and risk analysis is insufficient in the face of complexity. The problems that I'm concerned about are wicked problems. Anybody seen this musical? My daughter's favorite musical is Wicked. It has cost me hundreds of dollars in tickets. But you know, it's worth it because it's wonderful. And it recasts the way we think about the Wizard of Oz. Who's the heroine in Wicked?
A witch.
Yeah. Now, you could say Dorothy, you know, she lands in Oz and they say, well, you a good witch or a bad witch? Only the bad witches are ugly. But Wicked changes the perspective. The musical asks you to look at good and bad in a different way than the Wizard of Oz presented at the first fairy tale. It creates a new fairy tale from the perspective of the Wicked Witch, who's now the heroine. And it's a great example of how your perspective, the way you frame the problem, is how you see the solution. So these wicked problems, this is a term that first showed up in the late 60s, early 70s, and it refers to problems that are embedded in complex systems. These are post-industrial problems. There's supposedly 10 characteristics of wicked problems, but they're boiled down to about 5 here. Difficulties in problem formulation. The way you frame the problem leads you to the solution. Terrorism. Well, terrorism is clearly a problem of Muslim immigration. Therefore, the solution is end Muslim immigration. That guy just won the New Hampshire primary. The way you frame the problem constrains the solution. There are going to be multiple solutions, but they're not always compatible with one another. One person's solution is just another person's exacerbation of the problem. They are never solved. Wicked problems are only resolved and resolved and resolved and resolved. They are unique. And then this competing value system goes back up with the incompatibility of solutions. It depends upon how you look at them and what you want. These are the most important problems of our age. They are the problems that the universities need to organize themselves around, and there is no incarnation of the university yet that is prepared for this problem. The first universities were just book transcription factories. There was no printing press. A reader, and they still use that title in Europe, a reader would get up at a lectern and would say, okay, I got a book with a lot of knowledge in it. You people all want this book. You all want to borrow it from me. And I can't lend it to 75 people at once. So I'm going to read the book, and you're just going to write it down. And that's how the lecture was invented. And we still do it today, 500 years later. Despite the fact that we have the internet and the printing press and all these other information technologies, we still think of the lecture as the core pedagogical strategy of the university. Well, we moved from the medieval university to the Jeffersonian ideal, and we said, oh, okay, you know what, universities, they have another function, and that is to polish up the aristocracy and prepare them for lives of public service, wealth, and leisure. That was nice, until we got to the land grant. The land grant said, actually, there's something really profound happening in America, and it's called the Industrial Revolution. We need a university system that will support and advance the Industrial Revolution. After World War II, we had Vannevar Bush and the research-focused university. And now every university wants to be a prestigious, research-driven university. None of these universities are ready for wicked problems. I want to organize a university-wide initiative that can take the knowledge that exists out of the disciplines and organize it around the problems. Organize it around the situations that exist in society. Now it no longer matters whether you're a civil engineer or a social scientist. The fact is, we need a team of people that are capable of working together on a problem. We need to partner with business and government organizations in a way that we haven't in the past. And that's because universities are not good at acting in the world. We make a difference in the library. Congratulations on your dissertation or your journal article or whatever it is that you published. You've made a difference in the library. And I'm evaluated on how many people go to the library and cite my work, on the difference that I made in the library. And I'm tired of making a difference in the library. I want to make a difference in the real world. The people who know about the real world, those people are in business and government. We create knowledge. And by creativity, I mean new ideas, ideas that potentially have value. And that's a wonderful aspect of the university. Sometimes we reduce that knowledge to practice. We make that knowledge practical. For example, a patent. A patent requires that you reduce the idea to practice and publish it to the world so other people can learn from it. That's great. But outside innovation, there is this quality entrepreneurship. It's entrepreneurs that move things at scale. An entrepreneur is someone who takes something novel, reduces it to practice, and makes it happen in the world in a way that's never happened before. We need to be more entrepreneurial in the way we work. We need to foster students who are ready to become entrepreneurs, faculty who are ready to become entrepreneurs and work with entrepreneurial companies, and the institutions that govern our society in order to create that change.